It's Doodlebud. I got the brand new Esterbrook Estie in Petrified Forest. Look at this gorgeous pen. It looks so good. We're just going to go straight to glam shots. So quickly, a thanks to Esterbrook. They sent me this pen to review. That was really cool. We connected and he says, you know, we got this Petrified Forest pen coming out. Doodlebud, do you want to review it? So I said, sure. So it came in the standard Esterbrook packaging as well. They sent some other things along that says the MV Adaptor, so it can take vintage nibs. They included one for me to go with as well. I haven't done the vintage nib thing, so I'm going to do that here in the review, but I've been using this pen here for a bit. It also came with this bookmark, so this is pretty cool. You got the nib here. I was having a quick look at it. I think this little engraving, I'll see if I can get a macro picture for you, but I think it's done with a fiber galvo laser, which is pretty cool. That's my guess anyways, but handy little bookmark came in the sleeve. And then I got my full size, well, not full size, the jumbo oversized one to compare. And then also they sent in some blotting paper to try. I've never tried blotting paper before, so I'm going to try that as well. But let's get into the pen. Comes in the standard box, comes with a converter, cartridge, and then they have their little envelope. I like to say envelope. With a little card on here and shows you how to scan it and activate your pen. So that's pretty cool. I was a little confused with the name and the color. That's probably to do with me being up here on the Pacific West, here on the west coast of Canada. When I think of forest colors, I think brown or green. And so I was like, why is this pink? It looks like grapefruit. So I did a little googly doogly, and yeah, there is the Petrified Forest. It's a national park in Arizona. I thought, that's interesting. And then it's based off of petrified wood. So I started hunting around and I'm like, how does wood look like this? And I saw some cool pictures. And so, yes, petrified wood in that part of the world looks like this. I had no idea about that. But if you look at the petrified wood pictures and the job they did on this acrylic resin, they actually did a really, really good job. That probably took a lot of time to get it so close. Like this is, yeah, really, really unique color. Super pretty, right? I have the black one I reviewed like the purest form of the Estie. But this is why you get an Estie, because they're just so damn sexy looking. Cap comes off in 2 full turns and you have that spring cap. So you got the inner liner that's in there on a spring. You don't have to just, it doesn't just go on and then you turn the threads. You do have to just push on it a little bit, but you get used to that. Like the first time I used the pen, my oversized one I had took me about, 10 minutes to get used to it. After that, you're used to it. Threads are really, really good. It comes with, this is the gold colored trim on here. And now this has a different logo than the other Esterbrook I have. So I guess they recently, kind of did another refresh on the branding. And so you can just sort of see the difference here in the nibs as well. So cool little logo that's on there. I like it. It just kind of pops and stands out as well. This is a medium or medium, as I like to say. Cartridge converter. Comes with the converter, all that good stuff. And so we got, metal part here. So you don't have to worry if this was just all acrylic. But as you can see, we got a fitting that gets put into it here. You can actually see the little bits, the little quite barbs, but just the edges that they put on here, so that way it's secure and it's not going to come off. Because that's one of the things when you're mating the different materials, right? So if this insert is just only relying on adhesive, I've seen them come out. They can just come out, right? If the adhesive step, if it's just missed a bit or something like that. So here you have that texture on there. I'm not sure if there's adhesive as well, or if it's just a straight press fit, but that does give some bite, because that would be really crappy if that popped off. So they did a good job on doing that as well. You got your little cap band here. Now I did notice it spins. Okay, it's probably supposed to. I don't think this is my my first Estie of this size, because on the other pen there is no cap band like that. It's just straight. So yeah. That doesn't bother me at all. Just thought I would point that out as well. But yeah, everything fits on here quite nice. Color is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. The focus is terrible. But you even get those little you'd almost think it's an eyelash or something at first view. You'll see this odd little hair here, and there. That's just in the acrylic, and that even that little detail, there's little bits like that in the petrified wood as well. We got an O-ring on here. That's to help add just a little bit of friction on the barrel here so it doesn't loosen. Goes on here, really nice threads. You feel that when you tighten down, it just goes there, and I can feel that O-ring on just to give a nice little grip on there so this doesn't come loose. But yeah, this pen, I mean, I'm going to do a size comparison in a second. Yeah, I have a pretty large hand. On its own, it's okay. I do prefer it posted if I'm going to be writing a little bit longer. I don't know really of any hand size that wouldn't like this size and shape of pen. If you have a smaller hand, if you have a larger hand, it's going to suit you really well. It's not too heavy. It's got a nice weight to it. If you post it, it does not change the balance. So yeah, overall, just to write with this pen, it's a very nice experience. The nib here came perfectly tuned out of the box. I checked the tying gap right away and tying alignment. It was perfect. And so I just, I washed it out, then I inked it and thought, well, this should write well, and it writes fantastic. I have it inked with Diamine Little Bob. It's one of the kind of sheeny inks, and it's a pink color. I'll do a writing sample. So that was a color that was fairly close. I don't have a lot of inks that are this color, but I thought, this is in the ballpark, so use that ink as well. Quick size comparison with the oversize. You can see the oversize is quite a bit longer, quite a bit girthier as well. You wouldn't post this pen. It's pretty ridiculous doing that on here. Here they are uncapped as well. We'll compare. I'll get some other popular pens so we can compare sizes. So yeah, it's longer, not massively longer, but it's mostly the oversize is quite oversized when it comes to girth. But then you do have that step down on the oversize. On the SD regular size here, there's really no step down to be heard of. And these threads, the thread profile is really nice. Like, it's just all sorts of really great details on here. So I actually prefer, for me, the regular size over the oversized. And I usually like a larger pen, but in this case, the regular size for me, actually, I prefer it. I find it's even more comfortable, and I could just see this fitting everyone's hand. Got a few pens here lined up for a size comparison. Let's start off back here. This is the Narwhal Peter Draws edition, Franklin Christoph Model 46, the Estie. Then we have a Leonardo Memento Zero standard size, TWSBI Eco Pilot 823, and then a Pelikan M805. So yeah, hangs right in there with those. Let's pop off the caps. Same pens, the caps are off. They're all pretty darn close in size, very close to the Memento Zero and the Model 46. And then also even the Pelikan M805, very, very similar length. So here's how it's going to go now. I got out my Muji paper and some Regalia. Going to do a writing sample, show you that this pen writes just wonderfully. Once that's done, you're going to take out the regular section and do the whole MV Adaptor thing. Try out this little nib they included, this Firm Fine, the 1550 faux. And then I'm going to bust out, whoa, hopefully I don't break it. I'm going to bust out my J series, and I have the oblique brought on here. So this is a cool nib. The number on this one, this is a 9314-B. So we'll try that out too. Then I will just give you my closing thoughts. Pen's really good. There is one tiny little flaw I spotted, and I'll tell you what that is at the end. Absolutely lovely writer with this medium nib. Everything you want a pen to do and feel like that nib is doing it. Let's see how these vintage ones do on the MV Adaptor. You can see on here too, it's an ebonite feed. So I'm just going to prime it. I could have some patience, but I'm just going to, let me push that in further. There we go. Just going to prime the the feed here and started writing. Oh, you know what? You do need to use the other converter. This one just, it goes on, but it's loosey-goosey. The other converter here, it snaps on there. So yeah, you do use the other extra converter. That's why they supplied one. So things got messy when I pulled the converter out. But let me just say this, I'm probably not being the best ambassador for fountain pens when I do my videos. My hands are always clean. When I do a video, they are never clean. I'm looking through the camera, trying to get the shot, doing stuff, thinking about audio. Yeah, you mess up and get dirty. But so I put some more ink in it. This is the little bottle here for that little bob. Let's get writing with this vintage firm fine nib. Can really see the sheen there on that firm fine nib from that ink. So this one is, I would say it's an extra fine, and it definitely is firm. It probably needs to have the tying gap open just a touch, but if you like really small, tight, fine printing and writing, good nib for that. But this oblique broad, I mean, look at that line variation you can get, and you can rotate it to make it write differently and print differently as well. So lots of fun stuff. Even your printing, like if you hold it the right way, you can get those thin strokes and still keep your printing small and grouped together. But it just does really an amazing job. That was the main reason I bought this vintage Esterbrook J series, was really for that nib. So yeah, that MV Adaptor is pretty slick. The stock nib it comes with, the medium, is absolutely wonderful. But this is pretty cool that you can do this. So, you know, if you poke around online, or maybe you got a pen show you're thinking of going to, if you have an Estie, pick up an MV Adaptor. It's pretty cool. There's even vintage flex ones you can get too. And then it's, you know, you can see what nibs you can score and play around with your pen. I actually will probably have this in here for a while and play around with this pen just like this, sporting this vintage nib on here. So pleasantly surprised about that adapter. And that just gives a few more bonus points for this standard size Esterbrook Estie. Okay, so let me show you the one little, I guess, flaw you could call it that I found here. So let's actually put the blotting paper down, because ink might fly out of the pen when I do this. So you got your floaty cap liner in here. It's spring loaded. I do like it. It seals the pen. My oversize as well. They've never had a dry nib, right? So that drives me nuts when a cap doesn't seal. So awesome job there. When you go to post the pen, it does go in there. So I didn't have that with the oversize because it doesn't really post. It does, but it's not secure. It falls off, and it's plenty big. But I do like to post this one. So you put it in here, but this is going to compress that cap liner, right? So it goes in, and then you drive it all the way in. You can feel it does compress that inner cap liner. Great. You do your writing, awesome. You put the pen down, no problem. If you just kind of toss the pen, the cap will pop off because it's spring loaded. And it's not from too far of a distance. I'm going to hold it at, let's say this is maybe 3-ish inches, maybe 4, and it will pop off. So just keep that in mind, because maybe that's the end of your desk and it drops, and I don't know, goes, depending where you're working or where it's going, it falls very far and could get damaged. Like little ones like this, but if you write something down, oh, and you do that, it can shoot off. So what are my closing thoughts on this brand new Esterbrook Estie Petrified Forest? I think it's pretty slick. One, it looks beautiful. It's made absolutely fantastically. Like, even if you look down here where the cap meets onto the barrel, it's just spot on. Like, you can barely even see like a tiny wiggle. Then when you snug it down, like, yeah, the tolerances here, it is really, really good. So machine quality as far as how these are made, assembly, all that stuff is really, really good. And obviously, it's a very beautiful, pretty pen. And I can't tell you enough how excited I am about this MV Adaptor. I think that's a really slick move on their behalf. And it's also really fun from the user perspective, because if you have some of these old pens, it's a beautiful pen. This is from 1940 and it's in fantastic condition. It works well. I just it doesn't fit my hand very well. So yeah, I just tend to actually to not use it too much. I'm a little disappointed by that because it's got a really cool nib. This pen comes along with the adapter, and I'm going to be rocking this nib in here for some time. Like, this is really cool. And then, you could go to a pen show and then hunt for extra vintage nibs for your Estie, that whatever this one or whichever one you have that you really like, that's your favorite. That's a really cool way to really, customize this pen, diversify the collection, and something cool. There's vintage flex nibs and all sorts of things. So that's a very cool surprise, is that MV Adaptor. I think that's super clever on their behalf. So yeah, all this stuff, the blotting paper, that's a neat touch. The bookmark, it's really, they're connecting the user to the whole experience that fountain pens have, which is unique. Now, as far as pricing, this was sent to me for free to review, so it's a little tricky for me to talk about price if I didn't pay for it, but if you go on the site, it's listed for $195. There's lots of nib options too. So you got extra fine all the way up to your stub. And then there's some other ones. I saw like a journal nib, and then there's a scribe. They also have one that says FF and EFF. I've seen EEF, so extra fine, but I don't know what the extra F stands for. I have an idea, but I don't want to say it on camera, or else I'd have to bleep it down the comments. Someone's going to say it. But yeah, lots of nib options. And then, if you compare, I think the Momento Zero is really a pen that kind of competes with the Estie. They're known for their beautiful colors and all that sort of stuff as well. It is a well-built pen. It, posts and all that stuff, same sizes are good. They got lots of nib options. There's more here. They don't have the MV Adaptor, so that's a big win. I didn't think too much of that, but doing it now, that's really cool. And I know they have a new version of this, and the grip section has been changed, and that's kind of one of the reasons too. It has a little step down there, but I just didn't like how it really tapers and shoots you right to the end. I like to hold a little further back, but this keeps wanting me to go down there. So for that reason, I do prefer the fit, at least in my hand, of the Estie. And then as far as price-wise, the Momento Zero does go for a good chunk more. You can find them on sale. I think $235-ish I found it on sale for, but the regular retail is getting close to the $300 range. So yeah, even from a value perspective, this pen is doing quite well. Hey, Esterbrook, thanks again for the pen. That was great to play with this and review it and stare at it and just adore it. Really, really great job on this pen. Love to hear from you down there in the comments. Hit the subscribe if you haven't. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you next time.